Welcome back to YFS TV. My name's Josh McCafferty, and today I'm delighted to be joined by a special guest here on YFS, a man who, if you've not heard of him, if you've not heard of his team and what he has founded, you soon will. Throughout this interview, we're going to be telling you a bit more about Scoutable United. I'm delighted to be joined by the founder of Scoutable, Yusuf Bamba. Yusuf, how are we?
I'm okay yourself, just got a bit of the cold, but the Scottish weather, so yeah.
What can you do? April and it's absolutely bouncing outside.
I know.
At the time of recording, it's the beginning of April and we've got a weather warning for rain. So
I know, it's crazy today.
You love to see it, absolutely love to see it, but that's not going to stop us from talking about football as we always do here on YFS and youth football in particular today. Yusuf, you founded Scoutable. Just tell us a bit about it and why you founded Scoutable United in the first place.
So Scoutable came about in 2019. So a little bit about myself is that I played academy football. So I was playing for Alloa at the age of 14, and from there I progressed through the ranks for Alloa, and then I went back to Boys Club and went back to Alloa again. And then the thing that I noticed about during my period in academy football, there was obviously lack of ethnic minorities, playing, when I was playing against different clubs, I wasn't seeing much, another black player or another player that I've probably heard about or who I know of were good, who didn't get that same opportunity that I got when I was playing for Alloa. So after leaving Alloa and obviously going through the experience of going on trial with different clubs and, not being quite successful on, signing for clubs, whatever reason the manager had or whatever reason the manager thought about myself, not being good enough to be in this club. I just came about the idea of thinking, spoke to my close mate, that was Ash at that point. Still my close mate to this point, so always going back to him about any new ideas I have about Scoutable. I was thinking, what can we do to showcase, ethnic minorities, and we think let's get boys that we know, get them together and let's do a team and see if we can play against different clubs and, get them contracts, get them opportunities and get them out there. And my aim was to get one player, one contract. And that was that was the aim at the start, just to get one player, one professional contract. And then, that's how Scoutable started in May 2019. 3 games in, we play against Albion Rovers at Clifton Hill. And we won 3-2, and that just created a buzz, and a few boys got an opportunity to go on trial. And then, it's just starting to kick off from there.
Initially, 2019, when you started out, was it hard to kind of get boys that wanted to play? Or, a lot of people, it was easy to get guys, or what was it like?
Of course, I'm quite well connected, with people, we play 5-a-side, play 7-a-side, or you've heard of someone, or you've seen someone play, that we all just reach out to them on Instagram or had their phone number, had them all gathered to my house. I'm like, listen, this is what I'm trying to do. We're trying to get you all together, get you all united, and let's showcase ourselves, and hopefully we don't get missed out. This time, you'll have to come and pick one of us, hopefully, and just show your ability, and hopefully I can just bring scouts and bring clubs to come and watch these talented boys who are unsigned, and hopefully they can benefit from them.
Just on the talented players, the play style, a lot in Scotland here, particularly at youth level, we get this kind of punt at football narrative. We don't really play attractive stuff, ball on the ground, play football, but I believe Scoutable likes to play football and get the ball on the ground, play it for the back, and showcase your talents in that way.
Yeah, 100%, because if the ball's in the air every time, you're not really showcasing your talent because you're playing to that style of being aggressive. Obviously, there's that factor in football that you have to be aggressive, you need to be in their faces, all that stuff. But if the ball's always in the air, you're not really showing your ability, what you can do in the final third, or how you're composed in the back, and how your passing ability is good, things like that. So we had this structure. I have a professor who is the vice chair, Professor Rob Webb, who has been my mentor in football when I was 14, 15, and he played in England, so his philosophy is obviously different to Scotland. So he's like, Yusuf, if I'm coming to this project, the boys have to play football. That's the way we want to play. Make sure we're playing at the back. Everyone's playing a style of play, just to make sure everyone is showcasing what they can on the ball. And then
showcasing what you can. I know when I was younger, and still when I play football to this day, when you get the ball out from the back, sometimes your head goes a bit mental, you're dizzy, etc. You're feeling a bit nervous when you're playing the ball out for the back like that. Is that something like the boys have had to go over, like a fear of playing out for the back, or would you say?
Yeah, obviously when you're not used to doing something that you're going to different clubs, you're ready to getting told, get the ball on, get it to the channels, and we're telling them to play football. They're like, wait a minute, this is different. We're told to get on the ball, and actually, if you make a mistake, just learn from it. don't be shy to go on the ball again. So things like that at the start. Obviously, we didn't train. We just played in a Sunday league called the Scottish Unity League. And that's how we started, just to play games, just to get the boys gelled in together, get to know the rhythm, how we want to play when we have an opportunity to play a showcase match, if it's midweek or if it's a Sunday or whatever day it is. So we're prepared to go in that game and play to the best ability and get the boys to showcase themselves against whoever we're playing against and whatever clubs who's watching at the sideline.
Yeah, definitely. And unrepresentation within black players in Scotland is a big thing. Obviously, there's not a lot. I was just doing a bit of research last night. So only 4.5% of the Scottish population is made up of ethnic minority groups. So that's 1 in 20 thereabouts, right? And within the national team, I look at the Scotland national team, and I think there's one ethnic minority player, and that's Shay Adams. And he's not even Scottish. He was born in England at the same time. So there's very much a lack of opportunities and lack of diversity within the high levels of Scottish football, and that's something Scoutable's looking to change, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why the project's about. I just wanted to change for the next generation, because obviously I'm 24, so I've seen what's happened, and I don't want the next generation to have that same experience. If I can do something to change that, to diverse, like SPFL clubs, get them more opportunity, get them more players into the clubs. No matter what skin color you are, just your talent, is just good enough for them to sign you or take you on. And that's what I'm trying to do, to make sure there's a diverse in each club and create a pathway for my project to all these clubs too. So I'm trying to get well connected with clubs and making sure I'm pitching to them. Listen, we've got boys out here who are unsigned. Take a chance with them. A week trial won't harm you. If it's not good enough, explain why. Give us details. So we can feed it back to the player, and they come back and say, okay, this is what we need to do to get you at that level.
In terms of developing the player, how do you go about that? Like training or games and things like that?
When we started, we never trained. We just play Sundays. So the boys will play for teams like they might have. So how quick we moved. Obviously, COVID came about in 2020, and then we were out the game for a year. So just imagine, we just started up 2019, and then we just had a stop, and then we came back in like probably 2021. Obviously, some junior teams were able to play, and we're starting getting a few contacts from junior clubs saying, "Oh, if you've got any boys, because we're struggling." So we will just get our boys going there, and boys will probably be training with clubs already. So it was quite open in that way. So boys were training with their teams, but we weren't able to train as a team to actually enhance our philosophy to them and say that this is how we want to play, showcase, to be brave, and then your talent would get yourself noticed out there. So we are fortunate now that we were able to start doing training for under 20s this season. That we only train once a week for an hour in a third of the pitch. So you can imagine that we have to get a lot of things, done in an hour, and that's it done to the game we have on a Friday night or whenever we have a game. So yeah.
In terms of standout players, you've obviously having been established in 2019, you've dealt with several players. Yeah. What ones, any particular names that stand out to you?
I don't want to miss out anyone, but we've dealt with a lot of players, just for example, right now, we've got a boy Daniel Martins, is right now playing for Caledonian Braves. He's playing week in, week out. He's now an established Lowland League player, and he's 23, so he's at a stage right now he can go on to in the next step and play in the leagues now, League 2, League 1. So he started with us. He was like our captain. He's been at Livingston. He was at Greenock Morton as well, and so now he's got himself established in the Lowland League, playing week in, week out, which is good. That's him showcasing himself, and then hopefully he gets that step to League 2 or League 1 or a full-time club. And I don't know who else I can think of. There's a lot of players we've dealt with. Like even right now, we've got boy Dean, who was with us. Nearly half the SPL clubs were after him, and he just now signed at Livingston, and he's doing really well. He's playing with the reserves now, and he's just 17.
Yeah,
could be right, 17. And that's him. Just he was with us for a good 6 months, and you can see that he's talented. A striker who it just reminds me of myself a little bit. Not saying that he's as good as myself. I would like to keep myself out there. For I was not bad at that age, but there's something about the kid that I think he's going to go and hopefully sign that professional contract. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of names, but I just don't want to miss out anyone. But we have dealt with a lot of players who are currently playing in the Lowland League. We've got right now in our 20s squad, we've got 6 of them who are with different Lowland League, like Gala Feridine. We've got a few in Berwick. We've got one in Cowden Beef. So we've got a lot of boys who are in these clubs, which are 17, 18, 19-year-olds boy, and they're playing the 5th division, which is, it's somewhere to start for them, and they came to our platform and got the opportunity. So you never know in the next few years when we go younger and, we can try and target boys into League One or Championship or SPL. We've had a keeper who we got he was playing with our first team. He was only 15 and he got picked up with Hearts. His name is Milos, and now he's playing with Queen's Park under 18s. He's full time there. And the opportunity came about with him playing with Scoutable. Hearts took a chance on him, signed him up, and he moved on to Queen's Park, and he's now an established player at Queen's Park in the under 18 setup.
So many opportunities. And just going back to Dean. Now, Dean was in the year below me at school.
Okay.
The guy's an absolute baller, right? I'm not pals with him, but people who are in your school and stuff like that.
Yes.
What about Dean? We're playing PE and football, core PE football. And now I'm not the greatest player, and he's coming up to me, he's dribbling with the ball, and he just rainbow flicks it over my head and runs on the other side of me. Like, genuinely, he's
a confident player. The one thing I liked about him, is missing right now in players like strikers who just get the ball, just want to drive, go at defenders, and that's what defenders are scared of. Like, a striker gets the ball turned, just be positive and just take shots. Nowadays it's like hold the ball up, flick it on, bounce off your centre mid, turn, get in the box. But now he was that type of player that I thought, he's going to go for, because he can mix it up. He can be direct, he can hold the ball, and he can, he's a good finisher.
Yeah, Dean Raposo, certainly one to watch. If anyone's listening to this in 8 years' time and he's balling,
hopefully,
there you go. But just on players signing deals with clubs and getting them to the big clubs like Hearts, Queen's Park, Livingston, how does that make you feel? Because obviously that's a project you started yourself. That's the aim of it.
It puts a big smile on my face. Like, I just get joy just seeing boys getting opportunities. Something I've started up. I was 19, 19 at that point, and I'm now 24, and we're 5 years in, and we're still getting clubs reaching out to us, and they're saying like, if you've got anything, they rely on our platform now to say that, or if you've got any boys there. But what we're trying to do is making sure when these boys move on, some boys might not get game time. We want to know why. What's the issue? What's the transition? What's going on? We want to make sure that when they're going to these clubs, they're not coming back to us again to say, "Oh, we need another opportunity," because we don't want to be filtering the same boys. We want there's other boys out there. We want to make sure we're branching out. We're only based in Glasgow, but we want to hopefully branch out in Edinburgh, across Scotland, and have these boys coming in, especially if the minorities who are in Edinburgh who would love to come into Scoutable, but obviously the journey, the travel could be a bit long, which is understandable. But we want to make sure like these boys are moving on and they're happy and established and they're comfortable, and that's my joy, the players' joy, and the club's joy. And the club will come back to myself and say, "Oh, thanks for that was a good piece of business we've done together. He's a reliable person." And someone say, "Who's that player? Where did you get it from?" They can recommend Scoutable again, and that's how we build our connection and open our wider platforms with other clubs.
In terms of the connections, they recently got a partnership with Largs Thistle. Talk to us about that.
That came about literally this time last year. We played against the first team, so we had a under-20s team last year and a showcase team, and we played them in a friendly. They posted on Twitter. I just replied, and we got in touch there. We went out to Barfield Stadium, played there. We drew 1 each. Spoke to the chairman. He approached us to say, "What do you get involved in? Be part of the under-20 setup next season? You can, take over." And at the start, I was like, "The journey is far." But once we sat down and spoke about it, it was positive. They understood what we're trying to do. We understood what they're trying to do as well. It was beneficial on both sides. And then, unfortunately, we didn't get into the West of Scotland League last season because of late application. But we're hoping this year we're hopefully able to enter the league and compete. We want the boys to be competing as well. Even though we started as a showcasing team, but I think we've now grown out that now. We want to make sure we get the boys playing competitive, to see that competitive. They want to get 3 points. They want to get seeing the league table. That's the joy of a 16, 17-year-old player, that they want to be able to see that, or where are we in the league table? Oh, no, we just lost. How did that affect us from last week's position to this week's position? So things like that. We want to make sure we're able to improve every year the platform.
Yeah, that experience is only going to help the boys playing in that kind of level every week, isn't it?
100%, because you could do so much showcase, and also it's not like every time we get the opportunity to showcase, because one, we don't have our ground, we don't have our place to play week in, week out, even though in Logs don't have the lights at the moment. So we're Glasgow based as well, so it's very hard to get midweek games. All the pitches are getting used for training purposes, and obviously they get first come first serve on that, and it's just tough for us to get as many showcase the rhythm going on like every 3 weeks or every 2 weeks to get something going on, and clubs have fixtures as well, so it's just tough, but we're doing our best to manage, and we're just trying to improve and find ideas and partner up with a lot of clubs and trying to find the best possible opportunities for these lads who are still unsigned.
In terms of the future of Scoutable, obviously looking to branch out, what do you think? You've came 5 years from when you started.
Yeah.
What do you think Scoutable could look like in 5 years' time?
Sometimes every time I try and look far, something happens so short. Like on the 20 setup was something I wanted to do maybe in 2 years' time, but it happened so quick. It happened last year. We set it on the 20s, and then we're looking to go younger. We want to get on the 16 setup towards the leagues in maybe a Glasgow District League or the Paisley District League. Hopefully next season. Well, obviously we don't get funding. We are trying to, find sponsorships. To people to get involved in our business, get involved in Scoutable. Advertise their business. We've had a lot of attraction on TV as well. We've been on Sky Sports, we've been on BBC. Of what we do is being successful, and we just want to make sure we're able to branch out as much as possible to get, younger under 16s, have obviously under 20s playing in the league. Hopefully, we have our first team playing in the leagues. We just never know. We just never know what can happen tomorrow or next week with Scoutable, because every week something new happens, and you just have to tackle it as quick as possible.
That's just football in general. Just moves fast. And if you are talking to any young player, any young players listening to this, and they're considering joining Scoutable, what would you say to them?
I would say to them to stay tuned, because we are looking to set up, under 16s. We want to have this academy progress to have like under 14s, under 16s. But as I said earlier on, we're looking to get funding. Hopefully we can able to establish that the under 16s level and under 14s level, and so it could be a filter between that into the 20s and into hopefully have a first team. So I would say stay tuned. Keep follow us on Instagram, Scoutable United. Follow us on Twitter as well. We're on TikTok as well, so we're posting content. With a TikTok, we're a bit different to just show more of the personality of the boys. To people to who's this player, or only just because of the football skills, but who they are as a person. Get to see how they are, in the environment. I would say to stay tuned on Scoutable United Instagram. We should hopefully in June time announcing that under 16 setup, hopefully, and for next season under 20s a trial day as well to get more boys in and hopefully competing in the leagues.
Definitely. So guys out, Scoutable United, one of the biggest rising youth football teams across Scotland. So much talent that's there, and I'm sure I have a couple of boys that will go on to star in the top leagues in Scotland and across future.
Yeah, 100%. That's the aim. We just want to make sure we're bridging that gap between the on-side talents and putting them into clubs, and hopefully they can go and fulfill their dreams to be a professional footballer. And that's what they want to do. I understand it's very hard to make sure to be a professional footballer, but if they're putting the hard work and we're behind them and we believe in these boys that we think they should be able to get an opportunity, then why not? Why can't get into clubs and get themselves signed? These clubs should take a chance and just gamble these players and believe in them. That's what they want. They want a manager to believe in them, and if they have that manager's trust and they see the manager believes in them, then I don't see why you can't get the best out of the player.
Exactly. Exactly. So much talent. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time today.
No problem. Appreciate letting me speak about the Scoutable United, and hopefully we stay in touch for sure.
Certainly. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. For those watching, thank you for staying tuned, and we'll see you next time.